Hello YouTube, my name is Agent Omega and I do things. Welcome back to session 3 of Another Code Recollection. Now last time we left off we were looking for some plates, and funny story, so I originally played this section of the game already, so I know where all the plates are, and I got quite a ways in before realizing, oh no, I forgot to unfocus Streamlabs.
Yeah.
And why is that important, you ask? Because I use push-to-talk to activate my microphone. But why is that important, you ask? Well, because when Streamlabs is focused, it doesn't accept the key binding that I have my foot pedal set to, and so all this time I've been talking, and there's been absolutely no audio whatsoever. So we're just going to redo the section of gameplay because I was only 20 or 30 minutes in. And honestly, that's not that terrible to replay. Besides, I already know the solutions to everything up to that point, so we're just gonna do it. Alright, now I do remember that one of the plates is in here, and thankfully, it's just a lock on this side of the door, so we can just twist that lock.
Oh.
You gotta twist that lock. Squish that cat.
Ashley. Huh? Hey. Oh.
All of a sudden the camera feels stickier again. Oh, right, okay. So that's one thing that I have the benefit of hindsight for. Apparently I'm missing a couple of the QR code cranes, so while we're down here, let's just check those out. I do need to go to the art room to get the other plate and also one of the cranes. Now the question is, where do I think I can find the crane? Oh yeah, so the other thing that I mentioned in the first attempt at the playthrough, but clearly didn't get recorded, is that I also noticed that when I was exporting... Oh, there's the crane. But when I was exporting Golden Sun, I'm just going to finish this story and then we'll scan the QR code. I noticed that my vocal bitrate was down at something like 65,000 or something like that. And I was very confused compared to Audacity, which, you know, was like double that at the VBR export. So I took a look at my Streamlabs settings and I realized, oh, after I split my audio so that we've got channel 1 for both the game mixed audio, gameplay and voice. Channel 2 is just the game and channel 3 is just the voice. And originally, I think I'd had it so that just channel 1 was the game and channel 2 was the voice. But when I started streaming, specifically for the FTB Pyramid Reborn playthrough that I may or may not pick back up, I might just start fresh, that would be probably best. But when I did that, I combined the channels into one, but I still wanted the distinct outputs for recording, because, you know, that'll let me process the voice sound, make it sound just a little bit better, get rid of room noise, etc., etc. And the thing is, I didn't realize that that bitrate was set to half of the gameplay bit rates. So basically, I originally had the first 2 channels at the correct bit rates. I just didn't realize that I had to set the third to it too. And now that I've done that, I should sound just a little bit better. Should being the operative word, and also that's subjective and yada yada. Now, I am reading a little bit fast, so let me know down in the comments if you want me to read those a little bit slower or read them out loud. The first time around, I did read...
D.
Well, you'll see.
Yeah. All right. There's something... This is... That's... She's...
Hurry, Ashley. Hide.
Right. I remember who said that. It was Mom. The woman in the photo is your mother? That must mean the baby is... Yeah. It's me. This must be Dad's photo.
Alright, now... we just have to head back. I'll probably do some of the stuff that I did the first time around, but it's going to be much more abbreviated or quick, because I already know where to look for the solutions and stuff. So, before I even start to put the plates on here, take a look at this painting real quick. Now you can clearly see that we have a large plate with a bird facing to the right, a small plate with a bird facing to the right, and you can just see peeking out of the corner there that there's a bird, or a small plate again. So, really simple deduction, we can figure out that that must be the small left-facing bird. I would also really like to know if, like, houses like this, you know, old estates from, like, I don't know, early 1900s, late 1800s, might actually have these kinds of crazy mechanisms. I know to some degree, but, like, I'm also wondering, sure, you can very easily spring-load these things and make them only react to a very specific weighted plate, perhaps? But the fact that the plates are mirrors of each other makes me wonder how they managed to do that.
What? This was some sort of puzzle all along? Look, there's something in there. Huh? Huh? Huh. What?
Now this is where we get to test something interesting. I've already seen this map, and so theoretically the code might be the same, or it might not be the same.
How about this?
And in this case, okay, it does look like it's the same code to the safe. I was wondering if it's one of those things where potentially the code could be different depending upon who is playing, because games have done that before. either, by randomly generating the code each time or using some kind of set thing in the switch as like a seed. I also want to double check this because no, but the backs, I feel like you should be able to move those pins aside and take off the back of the safe. Okay. Now, before I continue with the safe itself, I do want to find the crane. Oh yeah, but as I was saying, a game in very recent memory that did the everybody gets a unique code for their specific playthrough was iSomnium Files' Nirvana Initiative, and that was a really great game. But there's a, well, you know what, I'm not going to spoil that, but there is a code that you can enter partway through the game that changes on your specific playthrough, so there is no cheating, and I was wondering if it was going to be like that for this safe too. Because it's not entirely trivial to put a text message onto an image like that and make it look like it's part of it, but it is feasible. It's not like a difficult problem to implement. Okay, well that kind of answers my question about secret mechanisms. I just don't know if it's exactly a cultural norm per se. Now, I will also say that the way that I found out that I was missing entries here is when you... Hold on, I was on the wrong screen here. When you go to these memories, you can see that they are highlighted on the map where they are intended to be. And that's really convenient. It seems like there's pretty much one per major room. But when I got to this point in the first attempt at this playthrough, I'd just gotten number 4 and realized, oh hey, where's numbers 2 and 3? And I realized I'd skipped them. So this time we have the benefit of hindsight, kind of.
Hey.
Now, in the first playthrough, I was really worried because I thought, I was kind of concerned, does it work like a proper combination lock where you have to turn it so many times in a specific direction? And no, you can pretty much just go directly to the number as long as you turn it the correct way. The thing is, it has like momentum, so if you're going for a specific number, you kind of want to release just a little bit early or do it one at a time like I am. So that's 17R. We're going to 4 via left. 7 via right, which is a long one, so I am just going to hold this down a little bit and then release around 10 or so. Yeah. What did I say? 7? Okay, and then left to 18.
Ha! Got it! The safe is unlocked. Well done, Ashley. Okay, let's see what we have here. This is... Yes, a key. 2 keys, as a matter of fact. Now we can get into those locked rooms. What's this notebook? Wells must have written it.
Now I am going to read this, because it is a lot of text, and because he's a butler, I just have, kind of posh English stuck in my head, but realistically, this takes place in, Maine, or maybe Nova Scotia, or Alaska, just coastal town, and the reason I say Alaska is, of course, because of the gold mine, but there might not have been a reason to have an English butler in your estate. But it's possible, so we're gonna go with it.
We finally learned of Master Leonard's whereabouts, but it was too late. He had already succumbed to the epidemic. It has been decided that Mr. Edward will take in the 2 children he left behind. Mr. Edward has ordered the new rooms to be prepared for the young children. He calls the rooms the Golden Bird Room and the Silver Bird Room. The 2 boys have long since outgrown me. They are now strapping young men. Masters Thomas and Henry have entered the same university. Master Henry, so wise and strong. Master Thomas, sweet and honest. I'm sure Mr. Edward is indescribably proud of their growth. Now there is no longer a concern about finding a successor. Masters Henry and Thomas both marry. The dreaded day has finally come. Masters Henry and Thomas are both headed to the battlefield. The war has intensified, and both young men were called to the front lines. When I think about how Mr. Edward must feel, I am speechless. I can only pray for their safety. The long-awaited day has arrived. Both young masters have come home. The joy I feel to have them return alive is unparalleled. They return, however, bearing grave wounds to both body and soul. Master Henry locks himself in the art studio, gazing endlessly at the pieces he once painted. He even struggles with daily matters, such as eating. Mr. Edward has keenly observed that help is needed, and has arranged for Henry to stay on the island with his family. After staying with us for several days, Master Thomas returned to his home on the mainland. He conducted himself with his customary positive manner, but I could sense something like a dark cloud in his countenance. I cannot possibly understand their feelings, but I pray they can rest and become well soon. Mr. Edward prepared his last will and testament. Mr. Edward has taken ill. What have I done? If only I hadn't written that letter and called them to the island. But no matter how I repent, those days will never return. It's all my doing. The fault is mine alone. But perhaps one day a descendant of the Edward family will return. Should that happen, I will leave a set of blueprints in my drawer. I hope that they are found and provide some use. I pray that the souls of Mr. Edward and the others rest peacefully for eternity.
This Mr. Edward must have been your great-grandfather, Dee.
You're probably right.
Henry and Thomas. If they were brothers and they were Lawrence's grandchildren... Dee? You all right?
Henry, enough already.
What are you trying to say, Thomas?
I just remembered something. Back then, Uncle Henry called my father Thomas. Thomas? Your father's name is Thomas! Dee, that's great! You remembered your dad! Franny's father is Henry, Dee's father is Thomas, and Henry and Thomas were brothers. They died on this island in the same year. I wonder what happened. Dee looks so upset. He's probably wondering the same thing.
Hey.
Yeah.
Now, last time I went into Franny's room first, and I'm kind of tempted to break that and go into a different room. Now, for one thing, I don't think I have the key for this particular room. Yeah. Now you ask, why go into this room first? And the answer is, I suspect one of the puzzle pieces in the in Franny's room is in this room. So we're just gonna do this first.
Does this spark any memories?
This is... Yes, Ashley. I remember something. This room belonged to Franny's parents.
Now, A, anything that old probably tastes like vinegar if it is safe to drink. But B, you're underage, young lady, unless this does take place in Canada, and your drinking age is lower than ours, which I don't know about, but, you know, I know Europe's is significantly lower.
Yeah? No.
This is...
And here is about when I realized, oh no, I haven't been recording anything. And considering it took me maybe 30 minutes to get here, we've saved about 10, which is pretty nice. Wait, hold on. Okay, I'm feeling there's something to do with the mirror, potentially. Maybe the angle, but also the drawer. Now, oh, hey! That
There's a doll.
is secretly what I'm looking for.
Gee, look at this doll.
This doll's made of wood. I think it's a woman. I wonder who it's supposed to be.
I just remembered something.
What's that?
Franny made this doll.
Wow, she made this herself? Impressive.
This doll must be Franny's mother.
Now, I gotta wonder what the cutscene's going to look like for getting the other dolls, because it's definitely going to change. Yeah, so a lot of tragedy going on here.
Who's Marie?
Franny's mama.
Oh,
Why do you look so sad?
well, this is a goodbye letter. I don't know what happened between her mom and dad, but I'm sure Franny wanted them all to stay together. That's why I'm sad.
Ashley.
Hmm?
Okay, I think that's everything in this. Wait, hold on. There's probably a crane in there. Alright, I'm going back in. Now I feel silly, though. I'll feel even sillier if I already scanned the crane in this room. So first, let's check that. Okay, there is definitely one in here. I just haven't scanned it yet. So good on me for remembering that. Now we're just gonna have to find it. I do kind of wonder if they'd ever, like, break the pattern and just put a QR code on something that isn't a crane. And knowing one of the game's twists, it's possible that it might happen closer to the end. Or at the very least in the next section of the house, and there we go. I don't know why I didn't notice that from up top. Man, that reminds me of several songs, but one in particular, I think it was a Sting song that I'm thinking of.
Yes, it opened! Now we can look in Franny's room. Maybe you'll remember something else, Dee?
Yes.
Huh? Dee?
This is it, Ashley. This is Franny's room. This is where we'd play together.
Huh.
Now, I wonder how fast you can get through this part. Last time I kind of just gingerly picked at the blocks, but we're just going to try to speed through it. Pretty quickly, apparently. A lot faster than I was doing it the first time around. I'm not even sure you have to pick up that last one.
I wonder if Franny made this doll too. It's missing its right arm.
What?
It's broken, see?
Oh, you're right.
The missing piece must be somewhere around here.
I don't think this doll is broken. I think it's supposed to be missing its right arm. This is a doll of Franny's father.
And?
And Franny's father was missing his right arm.
War never changes. Hashtag unexpected Fallout reference. Nah, but for real, if you go back and check the footage, during that flashback where Dee remembers that his father is Thomas, you'll notice that Henry, like, his right arm is obscured by the door. And that just kind of very artfully sets up for this twist. Okay, I don't need to inspect all this stuff, but the first time around when I did, it basically said, oh hey, the doll is not in here, because I've taken a look at everything.
A long time ago.
And I like that the game...
Hey, Dee. What was Franny like?
Well...
I'm just gonna keep holding that.
I guess she was mostly sweet, but she could be a little sassy. She was real easy to make laugh, but real easy to make cry too. And she was incredibly lonely.
Oh.
And I've completely oh yeah. Let's see. So I was talking about how if you go back and you take a look at the thing, that it sets up this plot twist very nicely. Oh yes, and how if you inspected everything in here and you didn't have all of the dolls, then it directed you to the other room. And that's very helpful, at least in my case, because I definitely find that while recording, it's like, because my attention is split trying to think of stuff to say or whatnot.
Hey, Dee, take a look at this doll.
It's Franny's. She made it to look like herself.
So this one is supposed to be Franny.
Yes.
What's wrong? Is something bothering you?
I remember something Franny said.
Dee, these dolls have to be nice to each other. If they get along, then
the box opens.
Then what?
Sorry. That's all I remember.
The dolls need to get along? What does that mean?
All right, now I'm going to finish my thought. Yes, so it feels like carrying the stream of thought and figuring out what to say or when not to say something. It like takes away from my problem-solving capacity, and so I miss really obvious stuff, like the fact that I could have just moved the stone in session 1. But anyway, so now we've got another interesting puzzle here. The first time around, I didn't have the final doll, so we're just going to see if this plays out. But because Henry is an amputee, at least presumably so, I'm pretty sure if we take a look at the second session with the diary, that both of the boys have their arms before the war. But there's only one way, yes, so that they can all hold hands. That's adorable.
Yeah.
Now, the other thing is, the first playthrough, I was casually looking up stuff during the voiced cutscenes because I've already basically got the plot of the overarching plot. Like, I might not know the specific details offhand, but I've got the overarching plot of the game memorized from the first game. So I know roughly when the twist is going to happen. I know roughly the details about the Edwards and the like. So the first time around, I was kind of musing to myself, could there have been a magnetic device like this in the 1930s or 40s when this presumably happened? And the answer is surprisingly yes, because the first mention of magnets or lodestones was back in 600 BCE by the Greek philosopher Thales of Miletus. And that might be mispronounced because I'm relying on my knowledge of Latin, and I don't really know that much about Greek, but I found that interesting. And then the scientific properties of magnets specifically was written about in the 1200s by the French scholar Petrus Peregrinus, and that's also very interesting. So TLDR, yes, potentially a mechanism like this could have existed in this time period. And now we're going to actually open this drawer.
We have a key. I wonder which room this key's for.
Now, I am going to get the crane in this room, which I believe is behind this book. And then I think we're going to call it there, because I feel like the last couple of sessions have been kind of long, and we just finished a room, which seems like a really good break point. We don't have an unsolved puzzle looming over us to solve next time around. And I can also take a look at some of the new entries we have. I am kind of debating going back and reading all of the character informations, like including the updates, just because I know that notification icon is bugging me, and therefore it probably bugs some of you too. The obsessive notification checking. Well, not exactly obsessive. Like, I just check my communications notifications more frequently than not, because, I mean, if somebody's saying something important, you don't want to miss it. Anyway, I'm rambling. Let's get on with the crane. Now, I really like how they've compartmentalized the entries. Okay, and this entry at the bottom makes me think that, yes, there may be reasons to check through all of this stuff on a regular basis, because there seems to be flavor text and commentary about the characters that do change with whatever breakpoint you're at. So it's not just information we already know, it's information about Ashley's disposition towards people too, I think. And that's kind of a neat insight that we could actually stand to keep up with. But that also clears out the notification, and I'm very pleased to do that. Now, one thing before we leave for the day, or for this session, whatever you want to say, is that I have a vague recollection that I think we're supposed to combine these keys some point down the road, and so that may also be a rationalization for why they have these cutouts in, like, the keyblade itself. And I don't know exactly where, if that's going to happen at all, but I have this feeling. I don't even know if it's correct or if I'm remembering that from the game at all, but just these look like they could be combined at some point in time and potentially form just a bigger key, and that's why they are like that. So I'm gonna call that a called shot. I'm gonna say this is where I think the puzzle is going to go down the road, and if I'm right, you know, bonus points to me, and if I'm not, well, that's just a prediction. It's a theory. A game, no, I can't say that, copyright. Anyway, that's it for today's session. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, feel free to leave a like, and if you're new to the channel and want to see more Another Code R, Golden Sun, Minecraft, I have been thinking about some creative juices for the Minecraft, so definitely feel free to subscribe if you're interested in that sort of thing as well. And of course, I'm looking forward to any feedback or commentary down in the comments section below. And with that, thanks for watching, everybody. I will catch you on the flip side.
The two boys have long since outgrown me. They are now strapping young men. Masters Thomas and Henry have entered into the same university. Master Henry, so wise and strong. Master Thomas, sweet and honest. I'm sure Master Edward is indescribably proud of their I'm just gonna cut that, and I'm gonna overdub this in post, probably.